A huge educational challenge. We've created a new category. Full body remote skin exam exists nowhere else. There are point and click technologies where you can see a spot and send it and a dermatologist will look at it. But we had one of the United Airlines employees came up to us at our on-site event this year and said, "I'm back. I mean, you saved my life." And we said, "How do we save your life?" And he said, "I came with a spot I was worried about. You did a full body skin exam. The spot was fine. We found a melanoma the size of my fist on my back and it's cured now." So, that's the point and click has real limitations to it. It also doesn't connect you to care. So we're an N of one. I'm in a market that isn't used to buying this kind of service this way and then getting the economic return. Nobody sees that. So we're constantly educating, improving, and demonstrating just to get the conversation engaged.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Business of Learning podcast. My name is Joao Camargo, and my guest here today is Steve Bonner, who is the CEO of SkinIO. Steve, thank you so much for being here today. I'm excited to have this conversation, and welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. It's great to be here. I'm looking forward to seeing what we can learn and teach each other.
100%. And I wanted to start off by acknowledging and sharing to everyone that you guys have a very unique company in a way that when, I'll call it maybe 5-10 years ago, you would think of, hey, what's AI capable of? What are some of the cool things that it can do? I believe that's what you guys have. So why don't we start off with you just sharing a little bit more about who you guys are, what you do, and the problems you solve, who you help.
Okay, love to. And I know you'll jump in with probing questions and deeper dives wherever you think it'd be helpful to the conversation. Sure. So the backdrop for what we've done very innovatively is the skin cancer market. And basically in the United States, we have roughly 30 million people walking around living with undiagnosed skin cancer. And skin cancer is the most prevalent form of cancer. It's also easily treated and cured if you find it early. Why are those 30 million people walking around undiagnosed? And the answer before SkinIO was that the only way they could move into the diagnosis and treatment phase was to get an in-clinic appointment with a dermatologist who would look at their skin with his or her eyes and make a judgment on whether they needed to do something to deal with skin cancer. There are 10,000 practicing dermatologists in the U.S. You divide 10,000 or 30 million by 10,000, and you know that the 10,000 are also doing Botox and rashes and breast augmentation and on and on and on. You observe that it takes 6 to 9 months for a worried skin cancer patient to get in clinic to be first observed. So what we've done is using AI-supported technology and some very unusual connections to care is we've moved that whole in-clinic first step out of the clinic. And we offer it at home. On your phone, on your iPad, you can download our app, and the app is AI guided. And what we do with you is we conduct a full body technology supported skin exam by letting you, it guides you through 13 regions of the body, and it's like facial recognition software. Head and neck comes up, the AI starts talking to you to get a good image, closer, better lighting, better angle, whatever. As soon as it gets a quality image, it grabs it, it uploads it into the cloud, and we get all 13. And then our database in the cloud has a different application of AI, which looks for statistically significant outliers on your skin. So first, it computes on a personalized basis the mathematical profile of your normal skin, and then it looks for statistically significant outliers. Tattoos, jewelry, scars, outliers, but not statistically significant. And it finds the ones that are relevant, we think, to skin cancer. It highlights those, and then the full set of scans highlighted go to one of our panel of dermatologists who finish the complete full body skin exam review using not only their eyes, but the technology. And the skin scan in your home takes 10 minutes. Within 2 days of that, you get the report back. And if it says we need to get you in to see a dermatologist as quickly as possible, we have a network of 600 dermatologists who promise to see you in clinic in less than 3 weeks.
Wow.
So
And
from the minute you see a problem to you're in clinic for care, not for observation, in
mhm,
clinic for care
mhm.
is a month, and you're still 5 months out from that first visit with a dermatologist.
Yeah, I think we can all agree that at least having one awareness within 2 days is much faster than 3 months, and having that first clinic within a month is much faster than 6 to 9 months. Which, in a situation like, of course, cancer, and we know all the dangers of it, can be crucial, right? That timing is amazing. But not only that, something that you shared with me in our first conversation that I would love for you to share here as well is just the accuracy of it and how different, of course, the way that it compares to all past data and the data that exists within it to make it so accurate. So I'd love for you to share that as well, and then we'll keep going from there.
Sure. So the critical definers of breakthrough in healthcare are breakthroughs in access, quality, cost, and outcomes. So we've just talked about the access one. Now, quality. Um, Stanford Dermatology did a study of our technology compared to the in-office observation, visual observation, and published a paper which says they think that a well-practiced dermatologist in clinic for a 15-minute visual observation might approach 80% accuracy.
Mhm,
They said our technology performed at 95% accuracy.
mhm,
As you said, in addition to that accuracy in the first observation, we retain all the scans in the database, and every time we do another scan for someone, the technology automatically compares current scan with previous scan.
mhm,
So now we're not just looking for statistically significant outliers, but we're looking for changes, subtle changes in the
mm,
skin, which is a really important way to look at it in advance. And a practicing dermatologist, and we love them, we work with them. I'm not being critical, but they don't have this technology in clinic. So when they look at you, they'll be taking notes and where spots are and so forth,
mhm,
but they won't have good measurement, they won't have color on it, and they won't have a way easy to compare it. And our technology will compare color, size, shape, and maturation of these things over time.
mhm, mhm.
Accuracy is far superior. We're gathering real world data. Our largest customer last year looked at their claims data and said they think we perform at 99.5% accuracy.
There you go. There you
So
go.
there's quality and access. Then quickly, cost. The first in-office visual observation
Mhm,
is $250 to $350. In addition to that, you're taking time off work. You've got the cost of driving across town. You've got the
mhm.
cost of waiting in a waiting room for an hour,
Yeah, yeah,
all that. So I don't know what the cost of that is, maybe 500 or $700.
yeah. And mental real estate as well. Going through the back and forth and the time and waiting and all these
Yeah,
things. So,
exactly. Yep. And our full service cost is $239. Everything from the scan to the evaluation to the AI to the introduction to a clinic that'll see you right
mhm.
away.
Yeah,
So
gotcha.
there's quality, cost, and access, and then outcomes. We've got an actuarial produced database, an independent actuary that can help predict outcomes and also the economic consequences of an employer buying this for their employees.
Mhm,
And
mhm, mhm,
it's very unusual as a healthcare benefit, but with ours, the average incidence employer skin cancer incidence will get 5 to 6 times return on what they spend in our scans over 5 years.
mm. Yeah,
Our
it's so yeah, thank you for sharing all that. It's so exciting to hear things like this because in one way, I think AI has now become not I think, I know AI has become such a buzzword, right? Everybody just talks about it. It's like, hey, do things with AI. And then to I'll call it the general population, all they know about AI is ChatGPT, and that's about it, right? They don't go
Yep.
deeper into it in the actual capabilities of it. So I would love to hear from you. What made you decide to take on this challenge of operating in such a I won't call it complicated, but a complex AI tool that has so many different things, and also understanding. And I'd love to understand your thoughts on this too. That we're like in this weird transition period where so many people are hesitant to it, and then the other half is, hey, let's go straight in, let's dive head first. We know the capabilities. So talk to me about that decision and how you were thinking when you first approached SkinIO and what you guys are doing there.
Okay. So just really quickly, my background is I'm a huge um, pioneer looking for great ideas in healthcare and great teams in healthcare and several other filters that I run it through. And when I find something I am drawn to it, I'll try to join it both as an investor and as a board member, advisor, whatever makes sense. I go back to jumping into a company called Cancer Treatment Centers of America, and right at the turn of the century, came in as CEO. Very, very unique combination of care model and delivery model, and grew it from 100 million to $3.5 billion in 13 years. And then finished my 15-year promise to them, and have now built a portfolio of companies that fit this filter that I've described, real breakthrough potential in healthcare. And I got deeply involved in dermatology, and I went on the board of a 4-clinic operation, helped to grow it in 2 years to 64 clinics, and then 3 more years to 160 clinics. And along that path, I was introduced to the SkinIO team and ideas. And for the reasons I've described, I just think it is an enormous opportunity to make a very significant difference in the lives of 30 million people, and to also dramatically improve the whole profile of how dermatology works with their customers and the economic flow and benefit of dermatology services. And so I talked to the team and decided together to jump in as CEO in September of 2023. And I'm now 2 years in, and just as excited as I ever was, but also a lot smarter about what the twists and turns are. And that nothing here is ever linear in healthcare innovation.
Yeah, no, that's really exciting. And even when I first heard about you guys, but then had that first conversation that we had, I was like, oh man, this is so cool. Like, this is so exciting. So I could only imagine being on the inside, what it feels like for you as well. And I'm wondering, given, of course, there are many, which some things that we talked about, which might not even be relevant to this conversation here, but there's many companies, organizations, individuals that you guys can help and will be helping. I'm wondering, how do the majority of them actually find out about you guys and understand that this is something that can be valuable to them? How does that conversation usually come through?
I do a podcast with you, and all the floodgates open. Very, 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 very simple from there.
There you go.
Yep. I mean, it's a combination. Early going, it was a lot of blind calling and trial and error and networking, especially networking. Our founder is a very, very creative and very sophisticated Mohs surgeon. So he's a dermatologist, but does Mohs surgery, which is the most advanced form of intervention by a dermatologist for skin cancer. And he'd been watching the camera technology develop with this idea in mind, and decided about 10 years ago that the camera in an iPhone was good enough. So he started investing his own money in developing the technology. And then he started, as we do with these things, with friends and family, and both raising a few dollars to do it, but also who might be interested in this. And they started thinking that the big market was going to be getting it installed in dermatology offices, which makes a lot of sense, except that that's a very slow way to enter a market. Practicing physicians are so busy. They don't have time to study these things. They're not looking to invest more money. And so they wound up pulling back from that and decided that the best initial entry point into the market was through large self-insured employers who really are carrying the burden, economic and human burden, of this hole in skin cancer connection to care. So started out, United Airlines, who I think was one of our first customers and is now our largest customer. They're the ones who said we did 99.5% last year. They also stood up at the White House Moonshot Conference a year ago and voluntarily said, SkinIO is our skin cancer solution, and everybody should look at it. So we got a few calls from that.
Nice.
We appear selectively at trade shows and so forth.
Hmm.
We've got a wonderful sales team with a great Rolodex. We've got a wonderful board with a wonderful Rolodex. So
Hmm.
we keep pushing the network
Hmm.
forward. Um, we don't have the money to do big advertising yet, and maybe haven't earned our stripes to do that. But we are on the cusp of launching a direct-to-consumer model, and obviously to do that, we've got to get enough impressions and repetitions and trust built for people to start adopting our technology personally. So that'll help to get our footprint expanded and more visibility, and continuing to press forward from there.
Yeah, 100%. And it's really exciting. One of the reasons why I like to ask that question is because I think as business leaders, actually, let me reverse that frame. From the outside looking in, people who are looking at businesses themselves, they always think it's sunshines and rainbows. Wow, this business is great and that's amazing and a great things there and impact there. And then us on the inside, we know that there's many challenges along the way. There's many bumps in the road. There's many hurdles that we got to jump over. So something that I always like to highlight here in this podcast is sometimes those challenges, those things that come in the way, that oftentimes we feel like we don't, it's not like, hey, we're alone in this, but like we know there's other people going through the same thing, but we only go through the things that we go through with ourselves. Maybe some team members that are alongside each other, but we're the ones that feel it. So when it comes to those conversations, maybe having that education on the customer, expanding to something like direct to the consumer, what are some of the challenges that you think come along the way, that are like always knocking on the door? And if you could just get rid of them, you would.
Sure. So a couple of things. Number one is a huge educational challenge. Um, we've created a new category. Full body remote skin exam exists nowhere else.
Hmm.
There are point and click technologies where you can see a spot and send it, and a dermatologist will look at it. But we had one of the United Airlines employees, came up to us at our on-site event this year and said, "I'm back, and you saved my life." And we said, "How did we save your life?" And he said, "I came with a spot I was worried about. You did a full body skin exam. The spot was fine. We found a melanoma the size of my fist on my back, and it's cured now." So, that's the point and click has real limitations to it.
Hmm.
Excuse me. It also doesn't connect you to care. So we're an N of one, in a market that isn't used to buying this kind of service this way and then getting the economic return. Nobody sees that. So we're constantly educating, improving, and demonstrating just to get the conversation engaged. Another one always in healthcare is who's going to pay for it? Uh, Reimbursement, insurance companies and government. And again, insurance companies generally do not like scanning technology.
Mm.
They pay for the scans, they find the problem, but they have no way to get problem cured. So they've just increased their cost and increased probably some tension in their book of business. So obviously we connect all the dots, and we can show an insurance company how they're going to save money over time. But then it's insurance company by insurance company, and everybody knows I used to work in insurance companies many years ago, and they're not the swiftest pony in the pack, right? And that's not what they try to do. They don't want to be the swiftest pony in the pack. So it's then really partnering with our best customers. And United Airlines, for example, went to their TPA, Blue Cross of Illinois, and said, "We want this for our employees, and we want it to go through our claims."
Mm.
So the Blues, to their credit, stepped up, figured it out, and approved us, and we can now go right through their claims. And Blues card participants around the country have the same easy access.
Mm. Mhm, mhm.
Cigna and Aetna, I give them credit. They've also, got very important customers on their elbows saying, "You got to help us figure this out. We want this." And so we're getting close to being much smoother through their system.
Mhm.
Care, I think traditionally is one of the most resistant to this kind of technology,
Mhm.
but we've got another very significant employer of theirs that is well connected, and we're trying to open up the conversation. And we're not looking for favors. We're the one doing the favor. We just want the favor of a conversation and an analysis, and then a path to success. Government, we can get some reimbursement from the government now on certain situations, but our part of our strategy, we're raising funds now to really accelerate the growth of the company. And one is to change our FDA classification. Right now, we're FDA registered, class 1, low risk device, and we are seen as a device. And we think that's a very safe place for us to be. But a better place for the government and insurance companies would be to be recognized as a de novo technology. There's nothing else like this. Pre-approved and class 1, then pre-approved. And that'll take some of the headwinds on reimbursement and put them at our tail, because then we'll be able to get our own codes for Medicare and Medicaid, and obviously have a different door opener with the insurance companies. So those are a couple of the hurdles we need to get over.
Yeah. I wanted to give you a fairy tale world situation here, scenario. When you first joined the company, let's assume you had knowledge of all these different challenges that you talked to me about. So be it the education side of things, be it the demonstrating the ROI that they will get, be it the back end of who's going to be paying and figuring all that stuff out. If you could just wave that fairy tale magic wand to just solve one of them right from when you started, because you knew it would be able to unlock the massive growth that you guys are looking to achieve, and of course the impact alongside it. Sometimes I've asked this question, and I always tend to lean it in towards a direction where it's something that you control. Because oftentimes, like governmental situations, like out of your control, and you can do your best to move around it. But if something in your control that you could have solved right in the beginning that would unlock all that growth, what do you think that would be for you? Just one thing.
Well, the one thing would be the FDA classification thing. And that would take a magic wand, because they're going to want to see data. And when we started, we didn't have much data. We've done over 50,000 scans now, and we're got some real world data. We can do some studies and so forth. But I think that would be the one that would have changed and opened more doors and changed many conversations. Education, sure. If we could flip the mindset of all the people buying benefits in big companies in the U.S. to start thinking about that differently, to actually look at. And the other thing about us is we don't need open enrollment. We don't need to fit into that cycle. The employer doesn't need to do really anything. They need to partner with us, but we'll market to all their employees. We become B2B to C, obviously, direct to consumer with their authority and with their audience. And so we can do all the heavy lifting. And we have Panasonic as one of our new clients. They found out about us in March, wanted it. We signed a contract in March, and we started both on-site and remote scanning in April. So this is not a long sales cycle, except as the insurance companies want it. So if we could wave a magic wand and get all the benefits providers out there saying, we've never seen one of these before, this is what we're looking for, how do we get through the cycle and get it into our employees?
Yeah. And plus, you guys roll up your sleeves for them, which makes it so much more appealing to them as well, which is pretty awesome. This is pretty cool. Steve, I have one final question here for you. This question is actually also not a question from me. It's a question from our last guest to you, and they had absolutely no idea who you were. So here's my final question for you. You ready?
Sure.
If you were to fast forward yourself 5 to 10 years in the future, what does triumph look like for you?
So triumph for me looks like dramatically bending the curve on the incidence of late stage skin cancer.
Mm.
especially melanomas. And it's just the world doesn't think this way. But if we could scale this and be scanning not only all 30 million that have skin cancer don't know it, but scanning the whole population. Analogy is dental exams, right? The whole system doesn't blink, says get 2 dental exams a year, we'll pay for it,
Yeah, yeah,
and you're good to go. And I don't know many people that die of cavities,
yeah. I don't think I've heard of any either. So,
right? But so why are we
mm,
facing such a challenge with this model where we can demonstrate actuarially the whole ecosystem
mhm,
gets so much better? And I mean, even the clinical processes for dermatologists, 2/3 of the people we scan don't need to see a dermatologist, but they're worried about it.
mhm,
So we've now freed up all that capacity in the clinics to see people that really need dermatology care.
mhm.
And we've also eliminated that 15-minute, low quality exam
Yeah.
for $250 and replaced it with a patient who needs diagnosis and care, which is a minimum of probably $3,000
Mhm,
and on up. So the economics are much better. And we've got all the 2/3 of the people, we've got their database. So we'll know when they need to get in. So we're going to help the dermatologist connect with those people as well.
mhm, mhm,
So I get, I'm a I'm a big growth guy. I'm a risk taker. I'm very passionate about these kinds of opportunities. But if we could become like the dental industry in 3 years and every American goes in for a once a year, or don't even go in, they just sign up and do their once a year skin scan, the the power of that in not only economic terms but in human terms is unbelievable. We watch Jimmy Buffett. More and more we see people that get these complicated forms of skin cancer, and they're lethal, they're killers. A lot of them can be fixed if you've got basal cell on your skin. We can freeze that off and you're not going to develop skin cancer. So it's so easy and so intuitive, and yet the market's not behaving the way we're trying to teach it yet.
mm. I think you guys are on the way though. Definitely on the way. And God willing, everything will come to be, and it'll be the new dental exams coming through. But Steve, thank you so much for your time. This has been such an incredible, insightful conversation. Where should people go if they want to learn a little bit more about yourself and also, of course, about SkinIO?
Thank you. So my email address is steve@skinio.com. The website is skinio.com. My phone is 312-405-0748. We'd love to talk to anybody about anything here that interests them. We're also raising funds, is the destiny of early stage companies. And if people wanted to look at possibly joining early, a unicorn under development, we'd love to have that conversation too.
Amazing. I will leave as many links as I can down below here if you're listening and do want to check that out. And if you enjoyed listening to this conversation, you want to hear more conversations like this, please also hit the subscribe button and I will see you on the next episode. Steve, thank you so much again for your time.
Thank you.